Checking the stream audio. Testing 1, 2, 3. Checking the stream audio. Check 1, 2.
I can hear you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Shows read.
Members of Council, welcome to our special council meeting of July 17th, 2025. This meeting has been called for the following specific purpose: for the consideration of minutes and recommendations therein from the Planning and Development Committee, PDC, July 7th, 2025. Reports for consideration, proposed budget amendment, begin procurement Ward 6, a number of discussion items set out in the agenda, which include programming at the Bouvard House, downtown safety concerns, Garden Suite grant program, budget reallocation, outdoor rinks, Advanced Brampton Fund, public safety. We are meeting here in the boardroom today as our council chambers are undergoing some renovations that relate to the sound system. All members are, do we have everyone online right now?
Yes.
Okay. Online or in person. In person, we have Councillor Keenan, Councillor Peleschi, Councillor Brar, Councillor Santos, Councillor Power, and Councillor Tor, and the remaining members of council are online. We have a motion moved by Councillor Peleschi, seconded by Councillor Keenan, to approve the, there actually is we don't have on the agenda the zoning and official plan amendment bylaws, which were intended by the planning commissioner to be included as part of that item. So we need that amendment added to the amended agenda. Yeah. Do you want to speak to that, Commissioner Ganesh?
Sure. Through the mayor, through to I guess Chair Peleschi, given that the July 7th PDC minutes are on today's agenda, there was a thought that perhaps enacting zoning bylaws for the Barrack Mosque matter could be added to the agenda should council wish to ratify that matter today, but certainly staff are at the will of council.
Since the item is on the agenda, I'll ask the city solicitor if that is, to verify that is accurate.
We do Stephen Ross.
Is Stephen Ross online?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, he's joining us shortly. He's just not quite connected yet.
Okay. My understanding is that if the item is on the agenda, then it's, as long as it's the same item, then it's okay, but I want to verify that with the solicitor. And so, maybe we hold that until the solicitor is online, and then we can deal with the subsequent items. Can we, to the clerk? In terms of Municipal Conflict of Interest Act correspondence. to Councillor Palashi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so it's my understanding that the PDC minutes were added at the appropriate time, and then typically when PDC minutes are added at a council meeting, the bylaws there follow for ratification.
Through the mayor, through to you, Councillor Palashi, that's correct. There have been some instances where we advance certain bylaws for priority files to be at that council meeting as well, subsequent to the PDC meeting. Given the heightened interest in the Berwick Mosque file, in consultation with the mayor this morning,
Sorry, that door has to be open.
was advised that there might be a desire for council to have that bylaw ratified today, so staff prepared it should council wish to do so.
Okay, so it's probably just an admin mishap that the bylaws weren't added, but typically, and it's with every council meeting, that when there's ratification happening with minutes from a previous committee, bylaws are added to the agenda.
Yeah, through the mayor, through to you, Councillor Palashi, just in this particular instance, given sort of the short window that staff had,
Sure.
Warning of today's special council meeting, staff quickly got the bylaw ready, passed it through legal, and it is ready for council's ratification today, should council choose to do so.
Okay, so then I would say just to Mr. Ross, then, is it just a matter of procedurally, do we need anything then just to add the bylaws, or because the minutes are already on the agenda, therefore the bylaws would automatically be on the agenda as well?
So further to, sorry. I did look at this further, and we can't find exactly, certainly there's no Planning Act reason, so it would just be the procedural bylaw.
Okay.
And because the very pith and substance of the matter did appear on the agenda, that we do not believe that it needs to be, the procedural bylaw needs to be suspended.
Okay, perfect. And to be honest, I don't ever remember seeing bylaws on the special council meeting. It's just kind of, it happens, it just shows up, right?
Maybe out of
At
abundance
least
of-
public, when the agenda is publicated I don't recall ever seeing the bylaws. So I think we're
The
good.
clerk was saying just out of abundance of caution, take the 2/3 vote to make sure.
Okay.
Do we have 2/3 to make sure that that is incorporated? Motion to incorporate, moved by Councillor Power, Councillor Tour. All those in favor, motion carried. Okay. This takes us on to declarations of interest under Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Any declarations of conflict? Seeing none, the clerk will so note. This takes us to delegations and correspondence. Welcome Kelly Walker, Brampton resident, on behalf of the Brampton residents, re safety concerns in the downtown area. Do we have her online? Oh, okay, great. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hi, thanks everyone for having me in. So I'm here on behalf of our neighborhood group located at Union Street, Church Street, and Alexander Street downtown. And we also have many residents downtown or downstairs at the conservatory just listening in on us. So thanks to those for coming as well. Our neighborhood is no longer a safe place for us to live. Things have gone from bad to worse. We have the right to expect that the city, the Region of Peel, and police will take immediate action to restore law and order in our community. The majority of problems stem from programs at Grace United Church. On a 24-hour basis, we are subject to criminal activity, including drinking alcohol in public, the use and sale of illegal drugs, prostitution, sex trade trafficking, loitering, and excessive litter. We are victims of theft, break-and enters, robberies, and trespass on our properties. Our days and nights are filled with the sound of police, fire, and ambulance sirens. Our evenings and nights are filled with our own personal security cameras alerting us to unknown persons on our property. The police are very responsive to our calls and concerns, and arrests are made. However, the accused is promptly back at Grace United when released. We report our stolen property, the police attend, but inform us it is unlikely we will get our property back. At our recent emergency meeting, called out of desperation by the neighbors, the police agreed things at Regeneration are completely out of control. We have submitted a reasonable list of action items for council to consider. The most important is to take whatever action is needed to remove regeneration out of our neighborhood permanently. Until the transaction occurs, we would like security at Grace United Church to ensure clients are not victims of criminals playing on their vulnerabilities, and that a no loitering policy is strictly enforced. Thank you for your time and attention to this very important matter.
Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor and Chair. Thank you very much for coming in to delegate today in follow-up to the meeting that was attended by myself, Mayor Patrick Brown, Councillor Keenan, Peel Police, City Security, and numerous residents in the area. Everyone in this room knows what we're talking about and the property we're talking about at Grace United Church. And many of us have supported regeneration ongoingly in the past, and we acknowledge their contribution with the services that they provide. However, if you look at the state of that property at any given time in the day, you can see what many of the residents and businesses are facing day in, day out. And I see it personally myself. Peel Police I'm waiting for the data from Peel Police, but they were at that meeting guaranteeing us that they have sufficient data to signal that this is a major problem in our downtown core. And Regeneration right now is looking for a new space. The lease at Grace United is expiring at the end of this year. Grace United Church, the property owner, has also expressed concerns regarding the littering and the empty food containers and the loitering that's happening on their property after service users and those connected to the service users at Regeneration Outreach are done inside the building. And we have data and statistics that show that numerous encampments around the area of Grace United Church exist. And in fact, Regeneration Outreach, when they delegated to council, admitted to handing out tents during a time last year when we were desperately trying to avoid having people sleep in encampments around a flood zone. And so today, in addition to the letter that you've just read, it's filed officially as correspondence from former Councillor Gail Miles, as well as the information that we received from that meeting from the residents. There is a motion, and Mr. Mayor, I would love to bring it forward now, if we may, through the clerk, so that the delegate can also see it. And then we could receive the delegation and vote on the motion at the same time.
Okay, we can move the item forward. No other questions? No seeing, so move the item forward and receive the delegation. Moved by Councillor Santos, seconded by Councillor Brar. All those in favor? Motion carries. We can bring the agenda item up.
Thank you. So thank you for your delegation. We're going to move the motion now. I think former Councillor Gail Miles might have shared it with everyone already. And so I think that it's time now for us as a city to take, in a similar way we are doing with other private property through the RRL and our public spaces in general, how we dealt with the encampments and the issues that are of concern to the provincial government related to trespassing and the Trespassing Act legislation that they're putting forward. I think it's time for us to prioritize public safety of our residents and our businesses in the downtown core. The issue and operations of Regeneration Outreach, and more specifically the service users and those who are connected to them, are causing problems. And ultimately, it is the responsibility of the property owner as well as the service provider, who also receives funding from the region of Peel, to be handling and dealing with these issues accordingly. And so the motion is on the screen. I could read it out just because it's a new motion for the public. So, addressing public safety concerns from residents and businesses regarding the Grace United Church property and Regeneration Outreach operations in downtown Brampton. Please keep in mind that this has gone through the city solicitor, legislative services, and various members of city staff already. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Keenan. Thank you, Councillor Keenan, for also joining that meeting and for all your work in trying to help us find a new location for Regeneration.
Whereas Regeneration Outreach has operated at the Grace United Church property at 156 Main Street North for nearly 15 years, serving some of the most vulnerable in our community with a food kitchen and other services such as basic needs, addiction services, and identification clinic. And whereas Regeneration Outreach delegated to council requesting assistance in finding a new location, and the City of Brampton acknowledged and continues to acknowledge the contribution that Regeneration Outreach has made in our community, as they search for a new location which would be more appropriate outside of an existing and growing residential neighborhood. And whereas the city continues to receive ongoing and escalating public safety concerns arising from numerous service users and or their affiliates of Regeneration Outreach on and around the Grace United Church property at 156 Main Street North, to include but not limited to the immediate residential neighborhood, the 7-Eleven, 164 and 166 Main Street North, and 171 Main Street North, which is the Medallion building across the street. And whereas there are a significant and increasing number of police calls, arrests, and nuisance on this property and the surrounding area involving the service users and or their affiliates of Regeneration Outreach. And I want to stop there and just say that it costs us a lot of money, property tax money, to deal with these issues related to this particular property. And whereas residents and surrounding businesses are ongoingly concerned for their health and safety and demand immediate action from the city, to include suggested action items which are attached to this motion based on a meeting on July 14th attended by myself, Councillor Keenan, Mayor Brown, Peel Police and City Security. And whereas Regeneration receives funding from the Region of Peel through taxpayers' money, whereas Regeneration has delegated to council publicly confirming that tents were distributed to service users despite the city's efforts to address unsafe encampments and trespassing on public property. Keep in mind that the majority, 70%, the majority of the encampments in Brampton are located within 5 kilometers of Regeneration, and 6 of those are located within 1 kilometer walking distance of Regeneration. And whereas Regeneration Outreach and Grace United provide important services but are still responsible for the safety and security of their property and the impact that service users and or the affiliates have in surrounding area, and whereas the city, in collaboration with the Region of Peel, have already tried to mitigate challenges between the vulnerable community and local businesses through the Welcoming Streets program, which has actually expanded and informed a place-based Peel outreach initiative. But unfortunately, ongoing and escalating public safety concerns persist at this particular property and adjacent area. And whereas similar in action, the city is implementing policies and enforcing action on private and public properties related to public health and safety, and whereas Brampton's downtown is undergoing significant transformation and construction to attract residential and business development and investment, it's difficult to convince people to invest in the downtown when you have that situation happening in front of people's eyes and ongoing theft and crime. I'll get to the now therefore be it resolved that council hereby directs the city solicitor and any additional staff on behalf of the City of Brampton to send an official letter to Grace United Church, Regeneration, and the Region of Peel outlining the serious health and safety concerns and requiring action to be taken to address the concerns immediately or face further legal action. And so this motion is just to send a very serious legal letter to give notice to Grace United Church and Regeneration Outreach that they must start to get the situation under control. And it will include police data, police statistics, and other information. And it will also include this motion, and it will include your delegation and the correspondence that was shared at the meeting we had on Monday. That is the motion. Thank you very much. To the seconder, Councillor Keenan.
Are there any other speakers? No. Thank you, Councillor Santos. And obviously, we've all heard a lot of feedback of concerns in this area. I'm involved in a number of fundraisers for Regeneration. Love the work they do. But there's a problem with this location, and I think, we all have to be honest with ourselves and find out how we can make sure that the right help is available in the right location. Glad that Councillor Keenan and Santos, through this motion, have put that into writing. All those in favor of the motion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay. This takes us to our next item. That was item 7.2, which we did, and so this takes us to 4.2, delegations in regards to the Planning Development Committee minutes, July 7th, 2025. Do we have VJ Ladd here? Okay. Next one, Rahul Sharma and Ria Ahluwalia. I'm just going to call out the other ones here to cross them off. Is Nayan Brambit here?
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Hello?
Is this Nayan Brambit?
No, it's Rahul Sharma.
Okay, Rahul Sharma, please proceed.
Yes, hello. Good
Please proceed.
Barrack development project. I live right opposite to the land where the mosque will be built, and I'm a resident of 9354 Clarkway Drive. I'm about 10 feet away from that proposed site. The only two reasons why we don't oppose any construction, but we want to make sure that it doesn't affect us in any way, because the proposed site is 10 feet away from us, and the old Clarkway road is about 10 feet wide. So even if now we have to, pull up from the driveways, we have to, cut our cars all the way, and it takes time to turn on to Clarkway. But, during busy times, prayer times at the mosque, when people will park on the road, it's going to be very hard for us. It's going to take us at least 10 minutes just to, make a right or a left on Clarkway, or even like pull out my car out of the driveway. I couldn't make a video because of the very short notice. We got this email at 4:52 yesterday. It was a very short notice. But again, it's a privacy concern as well, because our balcony will be facing the mosque and our patio. So, we won't be able to sit outside dealing with strangers every day. We don't oppose, mosque or any other religious site, but it's just that we want that our privacy isn't compromised. Probably there should be a wall built to, to perimeter the mosque, or, have the opening on Highway 50, just like all the other plazas and residential houses, instead of having it on the old Clarkway Road. So that's the main concern I have.
Okay, thank you for your delegation. I would note, thank you to the Planning Committee, just to highlight, you might have got an email yesterday to give you a third opportunity to delegate, but we've had the public meeting, and the Planning Committee under Chair Councillor Pleshy, for that first Planning Committee stayed up until, what time for the public meeting? 4 a.m. And the one more recently, again 4 a.m. I've never seen a Planning Committee be so patient to make sure everyone has their input. So this is the third occasion that we've had input, and I'm grateful for that. That we've really made sure that everyone over the last 2 years. I think the application's been going for 5 years. This has been a very slow process to make sure everyone gets to have their input. Okay, our next delegation is Nayan Brambit. Nayan? No. Next one is Shankar Rana Sridhara.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shankar Narayan, and I'm one of the residents living just across the mosque, even before 50 meters or 100 meters. So, and the one who is impacted as well. I just have one quick question. I'm perplexed to see this going forward, despite of a lot of concerns that we raised regarding parking and whatnot, right? So, if a resident wants to build and extend their home, and if they apply for a permit, and if one neighbor objects, saying that the construction is blocking their privacy or they have concerns, the permit request gets rejected by the city. However, I'm perplexed to see the city approving this kind of a big facility right across the residential areas where it would impact their life day in, day out, day night, right? Because of the last site. So I just have one quick question to all honorable mayor, councillors, and everybody else. If it were to be your house, right in front of the mosque, would you have ever allowed it to come? Or any facility? Like I said, we are not opposing the mosque, we are not opposing anything, or we are not opposing barrack. The location is not right. It's a tightly squeezed space. Nobody can come in, nobody can go out. It is going to make the residents' life hell. And city will have a barrage of complaints every single day to address. So that's where I leave my comments, and it's up to the honorable committee to decide. Thank you.
Okay, just to say, if one person objected to a planning matter on your street, the city would apply the same planning principles, and we apply the same planning principles to all places of worship in the city. And so if Barrack was denied, it would be changing the principles that have been previously applied to every other place of worship. And I have a list from the planning department where the greater variances were already permitted. And so it would really, we believe, treat every place of worship the same and follow the planning principles we have in Ontario. Councillor Pleshy, did you want to respond to that?
Just a question. Your question was if we would be okay with it being across from my house. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your delegation. Our next item is Radhika UDP.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
You are? We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I live very close to this property where the project is being proposed, and I oppose this development mainly because it's a residential area, and that green space, I don't think it's very much prepared to accommodate this huge project. And as you know, it is not like a detached or a townhome complex which is coming across where you have limited number of people coming in and going out. This is a huge project. It's a place of worship which will only go on increasing as the years pass by. So I'm a strong believer in God. So the number of people, the number of times I go with my family to visit temple or any place of worship is many more times in a week. So I don't think the number of people visiting this project, the property will be less in the future years to come. So I love my city Brampton. So the traffic right now without any of the high-rise building or any such big project itself, the traffic is more and the number of collisions is more. So you're all been elected, and by God's grace, you're in a very responsible position to make all these big decisions for Brampton. I strongly urge to please consider all of the residents' plead, and for me and for my future and my kids' future and also my neighbors and every kid who stays there in that area, I want them to feel safe, not only in this year, many more years to come. So please, in the future, considering the future of the Brampton and the traffic, what we are going through, the congestion, the pollution, so please take a decision that will benefit everybody in the future. Please consider the traffic and the collisions. Right now, it's only going on increasing with other developments coming in that area. I just can't imagine the state of this Bram East community in near future. Thank you.
Councillor Santos, you wanted to respond?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you very much for your delegation and the previous delegation as well. I have a similar situation in Ward 5, where there was a place of worship, which is a Hindu temple, Triveni Mandir, that is very large, very beautiful, and makes a significant contribution to the community. And I'll tell you that similar to this planning application here, it's in the heart of a residential neighborhood. And the same issues that folks are bringing up now are the same issues that were brought up back when that Triveni Mandir and the Mandir was coming up for approval as well. And so I have hands-on experience to say that this place of worship that's located in Ward 5 is not only celebrated
But a lot of the issues that folks are bringing up right now are the same issues that were brought up when the Trivani Mandir was being brought forward. And in the same way that I support Trivani Mandir, I support the development of this place of worship as well.
Thank you, Councillor Santos. And Radhika, you mentioned that it's different at your place of worship. What place of worship do you go to?
I go to a few temples.
Okay, well, just to say, I have the list here of temples that we've made much greater variances for. Vraj Hindu Temple, Hindu Sabha Mandir, Bhavani Shankar Mandir and Cultural
Okay,
Center.
I'm not against any of the place of worship, Mayor. I strongly recommend any place of worship. I don't mind, but the location, I strongly oppose the location. It is not. It is a residential location, Mayor. Please consider that point. We are not against any of the place of worship. I don't have anything against the place of worship, because that's the place where everybody find their peace to go to. They have the rights to go to, but that's not the location. They can, I mean, there are many other large locations which is not close to any of the residential area, right? So
But for the city to apply a different planning principle for this location would then set a precedent for every other temple that we've approved, and to say that we're going to treat this faith differently. And in Brampton, we have the principle that we apply the same planning rules and principles that are set out in Ontario to all places of worship. We believe
I
we
agree.
believe in the
Totally
quality
agree.
of freedom of religion, and generally as a city, we celebrate the ability to go to your place of worship. But thank you for the delegation.
I totally agree, Mayor. I totally agree with whatever.
Thank you. Our next delegate is Adia Tripathi.
Hi, my name is Adia Tripathi and I live 30 meters away from the proposed place of worship. I appreciate their need of a place of worship for the barrack members. My only objection is the location. We have no park in the community. We have no area to play. Me and my friends play on the street because our neighborhood is quiet and peaceful. When many visitors come and park on our street, we'll have no space to play. I told my dad we should also donate for a bigger place for their prayer needs. Please consider my request. Thank you.
Thank you, Adia Tripathi. Our next delegate is Reena Patel.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me speak. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. I have asking one question to Ms. Ruana. I don't know whether I'm speaking.
You
right
have
language.
4 minutes left. Feel free to ask anything you want in your delegation.
So Triveni Mandir, it's in a community, but it's away from the community. It's not front of somebody's house. If you're going out from the mandir, you're not landing to somebody's house. This property right now coming here, it's landing somebody's house, right front of the house. Again, we are not opposing no worship place. We always welcome. We are opposing only and only it's a place. We living over there every morning when we sit outside. It's nice and peace. We don't want any stranger all the time coming to the houses, parking the property. Our kids are small. We don't have any park where we live right now. If the kids has to go to park, they has to cross all the Clerkway and go to other side. We don't have time because we are that busy. Mom, dad's over here. As you know, everything is expensive. So kids are playing on the street. Now, if the project coming here like this way, kids don't have any place to go. And the other thing, Mayor, lots of other people wanted to speak, but yesterday, 4 o'clock, email came between about 5 o'clock. People don't get a chance to speak. My husband formed the delegate form and sent it. His name is not on the list. Please allow everybody to speak, and please consider our genuine concern. We are not opposing any worship place. No, not at all. if the place coming a little bit far away, we are the one who donate for it. So please don't say we are opposing barrack. We are not opposing barrack. We welcome everybody's worship. It's only opposing the place. We live over there. Please try to understand. Please come to our house, have a dinner. I invite everybody. Please come to our house. You see how it's going to impact our daily life. After all the work, when we go home, it's our home. It's for a peace and living everywhere side. It's our right to live over there. So my concern and to request everybody, please think about that. Please come to our house. Please see how congested over there. It's not a proper site to allow. Please, thank you so much.
Thank you. And just to note that there are similar places of worship with a smaller distance to residential. But thank you for being here today. I would note we have given more delegation time for this application than any other application during my time as mayor. If someone was mistaken on when the planning committee minutes were ratified, I know there was some correspondence sent in for a potential meeting in August that was not a confirmed meeting. We apologize that they didn't know when the planning minutes were being ratified, but we did have a public meeting for delegations. We did have a planning meeting for the ratification for public meetings. No application has received as much time allocated for delegations in this one. And here we are today. We normally don't have delegations when it comes to the minutes. Yeah. So normally we don't take delegations at minutes, but just because we want to make sure everyone has their chance to speak. We're doing it again today. This is not traditional, but we're doing so to make sure everyone is heard. I would note I've seen an abundance of emails on this topic, both for and against, and I say I'm disappointed in the tone of some of the emails. They don't speak to the beauty of our country and the respect for religious freedom. I've seen some correspondence that is blatantly Islamophobic. I'm glad that's not something that you support, but it's unfortunate that it's come to that point, because I can tell you we have supported places of worship and we haven't seen that type of aghast demeanor in the opposition. But I say it does not help. For those who've sent emails to us that engage in rhetoric like that, it does not help your case. Our next, a motion to receive the delegates. I have a motion moved by Councillor Keenan, seconded by Councillor Power to receive the delegates. All those in favor? Motion carries. So we have a motion to receive some correspondence. That's an item 4.4. 4.3 and 4.4. That will move by Councillor Tor, seconded by Councillor Santos. And I believe Councillor Tor wants to speak to the planning minutes.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Brown. Just to speak to this particular matter in the planning minutes from the last planning committee that we had, I'd like to, and hearing a lot of different, there's been different concerns that have been brought up by the residents, but one concern that I do think that we have an opportunity to improve on is the concern about traffic on that street. So through you, Mr. Mayor, to the commissioner, can we give you direction on that particular concern? That if we can, would you be able to work with the applicant at the site plan stage to see if there's a possibility of having an access off of Highway 50 to that site versus their current access on Clark Way? But making sure that is not slowing down their process as is.
Through the mayor, through to Councillor Tor, certainly we can continue to work with the applicant as we typically do in other applications through the site plan process to look for alternative access to mitigate impacts on local roads. And if it's council's desire, we can certainly consult with the ward councillors, so that would be yourself and deputy mayor, prior to issuance of site plan approval. And again, if it's council's desire, they can message the efforts of that site plan to residents who may have had concerns to show the outcomes. That would not slow down council's decision to ratify the bylaw today if that's council's desire.
Okay, but would you need a motion for that, specific to that?
Through the mayor, through Councillor Tour, I could simply take that as direction, but if there's a level of comfort that council wishes, it's certainly open to a motion as well.
Yeah, then maybe we can add it as a motion, part of that recommendations. Yeah, a point 3 that, could you help me word that?
Through
Just to
you.
make sure it's technical.
Councillor Pleshy wants to speak to that?
Yeah, just as they're trying to throw the wording together. Love the idea of looking at other alternatives for, especially for residents and something that's this big. Really just want to keep in mind, you know, Vision Zero, and I can picture the Clarkway side of 50. I can't picture Highway 50 there for some reason. I don't know what's there. I'm thinking that it's soft shoulders and the water lilies that grow in the little gullies. So I don't know. So potentially, what are we looking at? What other intersections and stops are around there? Can this all, you know, work with any other intersections that are north or south of this location? But I think that's a great idea in terms of trying to figure out some kind of way of accommodating, you know, especially the residents and potentially helping the mosque as well. With their own internal ins and outs. So in terms of any of the motion attached, I would just probably reference site plan and give staff the ability to look at other opportunities for egress, ins and outs.
Through you, Mayor Brown, through to Councillor Tour, simply the motion could be that staff be directed to investigate alternative access to the subject property from Highway 50 with principles of Vision Zero and in consultation with the Region of Peel, simply because Highway 50 is under the region's jurisdiction, and that prior to site plan approval, staff consult with the ward councillors on the findings of that analysis.
Okay. We have that wording on the floor, moved by Councillor Tour, seconded by Councillor Pleshy. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, so now we go back to 5.1. That is the budget amendment and begin procurement demolition of the former Siemens building, 2719 Boulevard Drive West. This was at the request of Councillor Pleshy, if you'd like to speak to it.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. And, you know, I've been talking about this for quite a number of years with the Environmental Education Center and really just trying to get ahead of, you know, what CVC and the construction of the education center is going to look like, either the building or the actual footprint around it as well. So really would like an opportunity for the city to move this along, push as quick as possible, and to get people that are specific in the field as well. I think that's important. I don't want to see this down the road turn into something that's becomes any kind of an issue. So I leave it up to you know, our CEO and Public Works for sure to ensure that we get the right processes set, and we make sure that it's specific in the field that are coming out to do this. Thank you.
Okay, motion by Councillor Pleshy, seconded by Councillor Brar. All those in favor? Motion carries. So 5.1's done. Now we're at 6.1, which is the actual planning development committees. We adopt the amendment, but I know there was a request for a recorded vote on the main motion. So can the clerk have a recorded vote?
sorry, on the minutes, to adopt the
Yes.
minutes?
This will support the ratification of the Berwick Mosque. The entire thing, which would be a supporting the.
Planning minutes in its total, we
Yeah.
record a vote on the planning
Yes.
minutes altogether?
Yeah,
Everything that was on that agenda?
yeah, which includes the Berwick Mosque. Yeah.
And we're still withdrawing that option 2 in the Bram West secondary plan, like that's still.
Through the mayor, through to Councillor Pelletier, that's still the direction of staff. That matter is not on today's agenda. We'll be reporting back in the fall as requested. All of the planning minutes were, but the report back on Bram West, staff's findings after the consultation will be coming back in the fall per direction from July 7th PDC.
That's on them, yeah.
Correct.
Is there anything you want separated out, or?
Yeah, the Bear Mosque
Okay.
motion, separate.
Okay. So we can deal with. Can we?
That's all you want on that?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Can we separate the two
We'll separate and vote on the Berwick Mosque.
as a standalone?
Standalone first with a
Yeah.
recorded vote?
Yes.
Is that? Okay, voting on just the Berwick Mosque item in the PDC minutes. For a recorded vote, just that one item in the minutes. All in favor, please stand. And I see Councillor Santos, Councillor Brar, Councillor Pelletier, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Power, Councillor Tour, and Mayor Brown. I'll just check with those online. Councillor Medeiros, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Councillor Fortini, how do you vote?
In favor.
Thank you. Councillor Vicente, how do you vote?
In favor.
And Deputy Mayor Singh, how do you vote, please?
That was in favor.
Thank you. That is unanimously carried. And
Just to say that is unanimous. The Berwick Mosque approval unanimously adopted 11-0.
and we'll vote on the rest of it.
And now we'll vote on the rest. All those in favor of the remaining of planning minutes, motion is adopted. Okay. This takes us to other business, and we have Councillor Santos's item on the Brevard House property.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So this is we know that we're looking to negotiate with the Region of Peel on PAMA and eventually get museum status, hopefully with the Brevard House as well. And in the meantime, there's opportunity to actually activate the space using existing budget and resources within the city. Including, for example, having a movie night or having wedding ceremonies on the property. That the space is very underutilized. We had a site visit with the heritage staff, with Steve Ganesh, or Commissioner Ganesh, and Commissioner of Community Services, and the arts and culture folks. And so there's opportunities to do more with this space as we wait for that museum status for, that we would obtain through PAMA. And the motion was already on the agenda and moved by myself, seconded by Mayor Brown, taken as read.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Santos. From the beginning, this has been difficult, especially for us on our side. I live really close to the area. I can't go to the grocery store or to Shoppers Drug Mart at the Heart Lake Plaza, which is really close to this, without being asked about the Brevard House. So, it's very special to a lot of people in the community where of Heart Lake and where I personally reside. So a lot of people are really interested in. First, I'll just start by saying not a lot of people understand what has happened, and I've tried to explain, but it's hard for me to explain because a lot of the earlier days were also in camera as well, because we really wanted to have some kind of working relationship with the organization, with the volunteers, and unfortunately that really didn't happen. But I thank Councillor Santos in and trying to ensure that we can have something that's really special to this area, and the Bovaird House can certainly be that. So I think this is the right step in that direction, in making sure that, you know, not only are we, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to have 2 arts museums in the city of Brampton. So I think that this is fantastic. Can't wait for that status to be able to come, and look forward to going to some culture days and movie nights at Bovaird House. I won't be getting married in the gazebo. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? None. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us, we already dealt with the safety concerns motion. This takes us to Councillor Keenan's item in regards to garden suites.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. And through you, just, you know, I'm looking at the Garden Suite Grant Program, part of the CMHC funding, that the city receives. So I'm just going to kind of keep it brief. You know, with everything that we're doing when it comes to affordable housing and making sure that we can provide that, I feel that there might be a better use of the funds. You know, we've had the program for quite some time, and I believe only 3 people have applied for it, and maybe 1's been granted. So this is just a motion that would cancel that part of the program and direct the Commissioner of Planning and Building Growth Management to initiate discussions with the CMCH to amend the agreement to reallocate the funds originally allocated for the Garden Suite program towards education and enforcement of the Brampton's well-established and successful residential landlord licensing program geared towards providing a safe, affordable housing for all. So that's the motion.
Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to our next item, Councillor Pelletier. And I'm really excited about this item, so we're going to get a project started sooner than we had originally planned.
Am I speaking to it?
Yes, please. Why am I excited about this?
Well, it is really exciting. You know, something that's coming to the Heart Lake area that was really requested by the residents. 2 full-size ice rinks. We have a outdoor ice rink now that's a quarter of the size of a rink that is it's insanely used. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of people that come and use this. At one time, I think I counted 32 kids on this tiny, no bigger than this room, really. Like maybe 3/4, yeah, of the size of this room. Like it's small, and 32 kids just all with pucks trying to figure it out. But I think this is fantastic. I really want to thank staff for all the work that they did to try and find the money also. I think that was really important that we did, and doing this in phases, you know, all along will be fantastic. And then the commitments that I think the Mayor Brown has already tried to ensure that maybe a blue and white game, hopefully coming soon, will be good. But I know Councillor Barr wants to speak to this as well.
Yes, Councillor Barr, sorry.
Thank you so much. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we are very, very excited to have the Sandalwood Park have these rinks, outdoor rinks outside here. I know we were looking at the Ward 9 and 10 and looking at their rinks, and seeing that how much the public has been using these outdoor amenities. It's important to have them from east to west. So thank you again, and thank you for making this allocation.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brar. And this is working within existing budgets. It's just a reallocation. And I think this will be very well used. I've had great feedback about the outdoor amenities we have in our city. I know it's difficult to think about winter when you have a beautiful day like this, but this will enable it to be utilized this winter. And I love the fact we're making it easy for residents to stay active in the winter months. I think Brampton's becoming a wonderful example of that, of the full utilization of our outdoor amenities. for whatever sport you love. I happen to love this sport, but as you know, whether it's cricket, kabaddi, whatever sport, soccer, look at Councillor Keenan, baseball, look at Councillor Brar. We're going to make sure this is a great city to be active. Cycling, Councillor Santos. So on that note, motion moved by Councillor Plushy, seconded by Councillor Brar. All those in favor, motion carries. Commissioner Boyce has what he needs to get that moving. Our next item is item 7.5, and this is from Councillor Brar.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor. So OKD field hockey really has played a significant role in promoting youth sports and community engagement in Brampton. And they hold many tournaments, events, and it's not just about the sports that they play. They bring our community together and really bring other people from other cities to Brampton to showcase, the field hockey, really the places that we have here. So this motion is just requesting to support their annual tournaments to promote field hockey and their economic growth in Brampton, and therefore it be resolved that the funding contribution of $10,000 be provided to the OKD field hockey to be funded from the Reserve 16 Community Grant Program. So and that staff be directed to work with the organization to receive a written proposal and execute a standard city-funded contribution agreement, and that OKD field hockey be referred to 2026 Advanced Brampton Funds process to consideration in the future funding opportunities. So just would like all council members to support them, and I know they have always been supporting the community in our areas. Thanks.
Councillor Plushy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really happy to support this. I think that this tournament is happening at Cassie Campbell, correct? And so one of the items that had come out of Cassie Campbell with some of the tournaments, many tournaments that are happening there this summer, is the water. They're not able to, they're pulling water from extremely far away, and then it's becoming a little bit of an issue with trying to distribute the water, and this is water for cooking and washing and stuff like that. So maybe we can have a look at that. I know it's really has nothing, but if it kind of does.
Through the mayor to Councillor Plushy, yeah, if we can get the contact, we'll reach out to them and maybe chat with yourself as well and sort it out.
Perfect. Thanks, Chief. Commissioner.
Okay. So the motion is on the floor. Yes, please.
Sorry, just to speak to this, just to speak to the club here. They do fantastic tournaments that, I know Councillor Broad mentioned this, but I was amazed every single time I go there. Teams come from as far as Chelsea, from Quebec City, from the United States, from across the continent. It's happening right here in Brampton. Just one concern on that, the last time I was there at Cassie, maybe should have talked to local councillors about this, but where the bleachers are, sometimes there's grass under it that's not maintained well, and kids are complaining about getting mosquito bites while they're waiting on the bleachers. If we can just make sure that maintenance happens in that area. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes our next item, which is public question period. Do we have any questions today from members of the public for any matter or any decision taken today by council? Nyan Brembit, please come forward. And just to remind Nyan, it has to be a question, not a comment.
Sure. Sorry. Thank you very much, Mayor and councillors and all the staffs for having me on here. Yeah, my name was called, but I was not able to connect through the online as a part of the delegation of the proposed amendment of Barrick. And therefore, I have just a quick question. and some few notes which I missed on during my delegation because I was not here and I was not able to connect online. Well, we know that it's a very important matter for the neighbors as well as the representative of the barrack. And it is not only emotional, sentimental, or religious issue, but as well it is a residence issue. And therefore I ask, because the ratification normally happens 2-3 weeks after any motion carried by a planning and development committee. We have seen in the beginning even the agenda item has to be added here is today consider that 7.1 the ratification of particular motion for development. Is there
So Nayan,
my question? Yeah.
Normally in a summer meeting, it would happen the same night, but because the meeting went so long, that night, we didn't do it that night of the planning committee. It was then scheduled for the Wednesday, but because our council schedule was very busy that week, it got delayed till this meeting. And so it normally would have been ratified much sooner in the summer months. In the regular months, it would be the next council meeting. So this is actually a longer ratification process than would otherwise be.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I think everyone understand this is the biggest delegation in Brampton City happen for supporting or opposing in particular development in 2022. So rushing to the decision before having a conclusion or being in and finding a mid solution with neighborhood and community, would you be allowed the more time? You know, I know the motion has been technically carried, but would you be allowed the more time to
Nayan,
accommodate space?
The motion has already been unanimously adopted 11-0, so it is now ratified. 11-0, every member of council voted for it in a publicly recorded vote. We had a recorded vote on it. I would note, though, Nayan, I said this before you were here, that smaller distances to houses have been approved for mundirs in our city by this council, and to treat one place of worship different than the other places of worship. We can't say one standard is okay for the Hindu mundirs and then say it's not okay for the masjid. We follow the principle here that all places of worship should be treated equally. We have freedom of religion guaranteed in our Canadian Charter of Rights, and that if we ever veered from that and said we'll allow one thing for one place of worship but not for another faith, then we'd be inconsistent with the laws here in Canada, and I'd say would be easily overturned in the courts.
And that's what I believe in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom, and I specifically mentioned that we all welcome, as I'm an immigrant, welcome by everyone. And my question, because after this motion passed, everything is gone. After this, is there any way where city can intervene to have understanding about future issues impact to resident and barrack both?
So you're always welcome to meet with your local councillors, come to any city council meeting to have that engagement. I would note that Councillor Toor and Councillor Pleshy unanimously passed a motion to work on site plan to make sure that has the best egress, that maybe there's a different entrance point that can be used. That conversation will always happen, but what we've said very clearly today is that we must always treat every place of worship equally, and this council, in the instance of this application, provided more time for public delegations than on any other planning case. This was a very slow process. We had a public meeting. We took a long time to have the second meeting where there was ratified at planning committee. More time has been given for public input for this application than any other planning application during my time as mayor.
And I appreciate.
Any other questions, Nayan?
So the concern, even the 40 years ago, the Hindu temple was built. We are seeing the parking issues here, right? Do you expect that such issues going to happen to the very tiny facilities over there?
In the case of this, once again, this place of worship provided more parking and went further than we've approved in other locations. The fact that there is special allocations, underground parking.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you believe the Hindu Sabha temple has more parking spaces?
So in this case, they have provided more than
No, my
was
question.
required.
Do you believe the Hindu Sabha has more parking spaces? Now I'm asking question if I'm allowed. So this is a question.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
You're allowed to ask questions, but you have to listen to what the mayor is saying and the answer to your question. And do not speak until he is done, please.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Just say that there are numerous mandirs that have been approved in this city where there has been less parking provided. And so the fact that they went beyond the standards of the city, the fact they actually went to underground parking speaks to the fact that they are providing more than was required. We can't treat one place of worship differently based on faith.
I never say about any place of worship particularly. Now, emphasizing the people council are mentioning about the report of other temples, gurudwaras and church. There are existing facilities have more parking spaces. Even though Hindu Sabha temple, gurudwara and church, still they are facing parking issues nowadays, which was established 40 years ago. And my simple question to the council, when the research development committee, the data they put forward for considering the parking places, do they have assumed the future parking requirement, how this is going to happen in this tiny place? Even though 40 years ago the Brampton Hindu Sabha temple developed, still we are facing lots of parking issues and traffic.
Yeah, I'll refer this to the planning
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Through the mayor, through to the delegate, thanks for the question. I think the recommendation report speaks at length as to how the applicant worked with city staff, both on an updated traffic study and parking study to support justification for parking at the proposed mosque. In addition to that, the applicant worked with city staff to, as the mayor indicated, propose underground parking for any potential overflow. And if memory serves, during the July 7th Planning Committee meeting, there was discussion at length about how the mosque would work to stagger, if you will, a lot of the prayer sessions so as to avoid overloading the local street. Certainly with any other proposed land use as that comes to development, the city will continue to monitor it, and the city has fairly robust parking enforcement program that can work with any place of worship to support heavy traffic.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Ganesh.
Thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Ryan.
considering this. And I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to ask a question and having my civic rights exercise first time here in this meeting. I delegated a lot. I also requested, I know it's a city council special meeting, but there is something special I requested in relation to the recreation delegation form if related to the crickets. If the council committee can have just 2 minutes on that delegation, if I
You're
did.
allowed to ask a question about any decision made at today's meeting. I don't believe there was a...
No, other business if I did that. Other business, not
So
question.
because the decision wasn't taken on cricket today, you can't ask a question
Okay.
about cricket today.
All
But
right.
I'm sure there'll be a future opportunity. And we were just proudly opened our 23rd cricket location this week. Most in Canada, any city, proud to be the cricket capital of Canada. Thank you, Nayan.
I'll be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next, we have written correspondence, which we'll put on the screen because it is lengthy, from Gloria Berger, who has a question. Oh, Gloria's here. Okay, great. Gloria, come on. Yeah, yeah. In written form and in person.
You betcha. Question number 1. What are the existing resources already allocated to manage elderly that are to be split to manage the Bovaird House property?
So,
There's 12 questions,
So,
Patrick. Do you want to defer to somebody?
no, we're happy to answer questions. What I would say, and we do have 5 minutes left for public question period, but
That's
I'll-
question 1. Number 2, who is
So-
responsible for the managing of the Bovaird House property?
Do you want us to answer them individually, or do you want to read them all out?
Well, I don't mind reading them all out because if I only have 5 minutes, it's going to be a lot for somebody to answer.
Feel free to read them all out.
What is the yearly cost to the city for the ongoing maintenance of Alderley? What is the yearly income to the city from the events held at Alderley? What is the existing approval budget that the staff has access to for exploring the possibility of outdoor wedding ceremonies, recreation and sports programming, community gardens, culture days, movie nights, performing arts pop-ups, etc. at the Bovaird House property? How does the possibility of outdoor wedding ceremonies, recreation and sports programming, community gardens, culture days, movie nights, performing arts pop-ups, etc. meet the covenant that runs with the land, which states, the house located upon the lands shall be preserved for public use for cultural and educational purposes only? Number 7, what are the applicable provincial and federal funding programs that staff has been directed to apply for? Number 8, what are the improvements to the property staff has been directed to find funding for in supporting programming on the property? Number 9, all of the examples provided will require significant changes to the property, including the addition of more than the one existing washroom facility. What are the plans for the development of the property to meet the obvious needs requirements based on this motion? It does not seem that the programming to manage Bovaird House meets the covenant that runs with the land. There is a positive obligation to maintain the property for educational and cultural purposes. How does this motion relate to the covenant that runs with the land? Number 11, regarding museum status, what are the negotiations you're referring to as especially considering the recent negotiations with the Region of Peel regarding PAMA? Number 12, why is the Bovaird House property being declared an official public open space, bracket park, showcasing this historic gem in the city, allowing access for all residents to enjoy while protecting and conserving the character of the buildings and the grounds as an historic site, when currently the covenant that runs with the land states that the land shall be developed and landscaped as one park for passive recreation purposes only, and to maintain the lands and buildings located thereon as a historic site?
So thank you for all the questions. We'll make sure that staff can get back to you in writing. But I would say, on a high level, you look at Alderley House, and it's a success story in terms of utilization. It is greatly appreciated.
No question about that.
It is greatly appreciated by the community. The utilization rates are very impressive. And I know that we can see the same success with Bovaird House. We got incredible staff at the City of Brampton that are willing to step up and make sure that it is a success story as well. In terms of your specific questions and negotiations that are ongoing with the Region of Peel, I don't think that part can be shared at this point, as we're in the process of the downloading of regional assets that may or may not happen, but it depends on the success of those negotiations. There's a council motion directing it, but it hasn't been ratified yet. But maybe on a high level, if Commissioner Boyce wants to respond before we, and then the remaining questions can be responded to in writing.
Sure. Through the mayor to the resident, we'll certainly dig into each of these questions and get back. I mean, I think the idea and the intent is to work within our existing resources, maintain the integrity of the property, to not disrupt any of the historical elements. Peter, maybe you can add on Alderley. I don't have any examples or information with Alderley, but it certainly we can put it back with the questions that are dealing with Alderley.
Okay, so we'll make sure that you have a written correspondence. Thank you for 12
Thanks.
detailed questions.
Okie doke.
Okay, our next item is, we have one item in closed session. So I'm going to ask only closed session individuals to stay in the room. Oh, we need a motion to go in closed session. Moved by Councillor Pleshy, seconded by Councillor Keenan. And I don't imagine, do we need time to go into closed session?
Just about 5 minutes, just to get out of.
5 minutes. Okay. 5 minutes will. Only Merlin and the clerk. Necessary. Everyone else can have a coffee break. in public session any outcomes from today's closed session business. As a result of closed session today, we wish to report the following, and the clerk will put it on the screen. An item was considered, 9.1, direction was given to staff. This takes us to bylaws. We have bylaws 10.1, 10.2, and 10.3. We also have the bylaws under 10.2, which are on the screen. And this is,
Yeah, we'll cover these two.
okay, so,
A motion to
okay.
pass those.
For 10.1 and 10.2, moved by Councillor Tour and Councillor Vasante. All those in favor, motion carries. And then 10, and then the confirming bylaw, moved by Councillor Keenan and Councillor Brar. All those in favor, motion carries. This takes us to 10, sorry, that's adopted. This moves to adjournment. I have a motion moved by Councillor Power, seconded by Councillor Brar. Request for recorded vote. No, he's declined the request for recorded vote. All those in favor, motion carries. Our next meeting, if needed, would be August 13th. Otherwise, September 10th. And I would note we have a planning committee meeting on August 11th, and our practice has been to call a special meeting after planning to ratify the planning minutes in case the tentative meeting is not required. Okay, the meeting is adjourned.